Hi everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I've mixed up lots and lots of Dutch pour paints with my new recipe, which is with PVA glue and water pouring medium. They're really nice and runny paints. I want to do a ribbon pour and experiment with runny paints mixing together and merging and creating a whole new sort of set of colours as they mix. So I'm going to do a sunset ribbon pour. It's going to be a sort of orangey purple sunset over a blue sea. So hopefully some waves and some ripples in it. So really pretty colours, really fluid paints, really runny paints. So we'll see how it turns out. So I've got a nice selection of blues here. This one I think is King's blue. This one I think is manganese blue but with white, and this one's got even more white. This one is a really dark teal, but I've mixed it myself, so it's not a specific colour. This one is iridescent blue green by Pebeo. This one I'm not sure, ultramarine blue maybe, and some white. So let me show you roughly the consistency. So really runny. Nice and runny. So as soon as they go into this cup, they will start mixing. So I'm thinking maybe doing a couple of cups. If I were to fill this whole cup, by the time I get to the end of the cup, pouring it out, it's all going to be really blended. So instead of doing one full cup, I think I'm just going to do 2 half cups because they just won't blend quite as much that way. There's quite a lot of colours here. So I'm only going to be using a little bit of each colour. In fact, let's get my order. I'm going to alternate dark and light and then add in the turquoise. Let's go like that. I'm going to run the paint down the side, and that just means they won't blend quite as much until they start coming out the cup again. So for my sky, I've got some dark blue, dark purple and a dark violet-y colour. I've got a lighter violet and a lighter pink, and then I've got a red, orange and yellow combination. So I think I'm going to do the same. I'm going to layer up 3 cups, but only a small amount in each. But I'm going to have one with these colours, one with these. In fact, I might add the mauve as well, and then one with these. So again, I'm just going to run the paint down the side. So I'll have the oranges and the yellowy colours at the very bottom of the sunrise. The canvas I'm using for this painting is 25 by 50 centimetres, so it's quite a small canvas. So you can now see that I don't need a lot of paint. So I definitely have too much paint, but what I might do is use any leftovers for another pour. Right, I would like, let's just think, a bigger sky or a bigger sea. I think I'd like a bigger sky because I think that's where you're going to get the really interesting colours. So if I said the bottom third, let's go for the bottom third for the sea. So I'm going to do ribbon pours. So I'm just going to pour on in lines and in ribbons. Right, definitely far too much paint. I'm only going to need 2 of these cups, I think. Right, that is beautiful. So let's now, where shall we start? I think I'm going to start at the top, because if I run out of paint here, I can always add that last cup in for the sea. So let's start at the very top with my dark blues for the sky. Wow, what beautiful combination. Right, I'm going to save a little bit back, because I might want that in a minute when I blend the cups together. So I'm going to deliberately go up a little bit over the top just to help blend them. Yeah, I'm going to need that extra cup for my sea, I think. Right, I'm just going to use the leftover sky colours just to help blend it a bit more. Right. Yeah.
Where shall we put the block thing?
What block thing, darling?
What?
Right, so that's actually most of my paint down now, and that's actually a pretty good amount. So I'm going to tilt it around. I'm not totally happy with the proportions of this, because I don't want 50-50. I don't want one part sky, one part sea. I want it to be different. So I'm just going to tilt it around now and see what I can get. I need to get the edges covered. In fact, I've saved a little bit of this turquoisey one, so let's just deliberately pour this over the edge, and then I don't need to worry about tilting it all the way down to get that edge covered. Have I got enough to do the same at the top? I always forget the ends, the top and bottom ends. Right, let's start tilting this around. So I'm going to try and tilt it up this way first, up to the sky. So it will totally distort at this point. Right, I've got one final idea. I'm really happy, except that it all looks the same. You've got turquoise lines here, orange, pink and blue lines here. So what about just adding just an odd few little sections of cells into the sea so that it looks a bit more bubbly, it looks a bit different. So I've just got some coconut milk hair serum. I'm just going to put a little bit onto my worktop, and then I'm using a jumbo push pin with a sharp point. So I'm just going to dip it in the end, and I'm just going to try it and see what happens. Yeah, so I've instantly got some cells, which I was expecting because the paints are really thin. So this is really, really pretty. You can see why I've added the silicone, and I've deliberately tried to leave some gaps. These cells are worrying me slightly because they're expanding massively, but I've tried to leave some gaps in between. So it hopefully looks just a little bit more realistic. I've left the top totally untouched, no silicone there, because I really love how choppy it looks. And then the cells are bigger and bigger towards the bottom. And it just changes it up a little bit. I think it just looks better than just all the lines because you've got all the lines up the top here. So happy how this just blends. The colours, you can see the lines mixed in. It just blends, goes up. The pale pink has split a little bit because obviously there wasn't enough paint in it, but that looks really pretty for this because I think it just makes it look like clouds. So really happy with it. Really enjoying using the really thin paints because I just love how they can blend. So I'll be back when it's dry. So it's now dry, now finished. I love it. I'm so happy with it. I've made a couple of very subtle changes which have just pulled it together, and that's basically along the horizon. So let me show you that first. I put some green frog tape just to give a really sharp edge, and then I've just coloured in with a little bit of orange just to and so it just blends the sea and the sky, so it's a perfectly sharp line now. And then with some really dark turquoise, I've just shaded a tiny bit under that line, and I just think that works really well. I think just having a really sharp horizon, a really sharp separation between the two sections really, really works. It wasn't that uneven and I could have left it, but I just think your eye is now drawn to there, to right in the centre there. So the sea is really interesting. The cells have just gone a bit crazy. The paint was so fluid that they have just expanded massively. So I'm not sure I like that, but equally I don't dislike it. I think it just works with the sea because it just looks choppy, it just looks wavy. So I'm not sure. I think I'd probably thicken the paints up slightly if I was going to do this again with the cells. But equally, yeah, I quite like it. Just love the blend of the colours. And then really pleased with this. Look at just the lines separating the purple lines there, separating the reds, and then it just gets faint. And you can see again where that pale pink has split, but it just looks like some fluffy clouds. And I just like how irregular it is. So you've got a really big pink section there, like you would in the sky. You'd have the horizon, the sunset, and then the clouds, and yeah, really happy with it. So please let me know what you think. If you like it, please do hit the thumbs up button. Please do subscribe to my channel. Great. Take care, everyone. Bye.